Charlotte. He's been their third leading scorer in the playoffs. What a season he's had.
Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from
the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure. So the ball is out in the end zone. And it's
Wheeler finds Claude from the logo.
Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. He's down to
All right, everyone, welcome back. We are on to week number 12 for the NFL season. And last week was a pretty good week for me. I got every single 1 p.m. game correct. I got the Thursday night game correct. It wasn't until we got to the 4 o'clock games where I lost a couple. I ended up 11-3 last week. And that brings me to 109-57 on the year. So I'm really going in the right direction here. So I'm looking for another big week 12 week. Starting off with a divisional matchup for Thursday night football, we have the 8-2 Steelers going into Cleveland against the 2-8 Browns. Obviously, I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game. They have come through with 2 big wins for me the last 2 weeks. I picked them against Washington. I picked them against the Ravens last week. So they've really been helping me a lot with my picks. And they should certainly beat the Browns. The only thing I'm going to say about this game is I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a really low-scoring game in the first half. NFC North divisional games are usually like very strange. Those teams hate each other extra, and they usually play each other very, very hard. For some reason, I don't know why. Like, it's just the way it goes every year. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was like a very heavy defensive game in the first half, but the Steelers should have no issues pulling away and winning this once and for all. So Steelers win, easy.
I don't think I need to say much. I'm just going to pick the Steelers.
I am also taking the Steelers. Browns are not a good team.
Terrible.
And Steelers' defense is really good. The Browns' defense is not horrible. But, I mean, Vegas thinks it's going to be a low-scoring game, too. It's the over-under is 36.5. But, you know, you got Russell Wilson's been playing really well. So I think the Steelers are going to win this one easily. Well, let's get back to you didn't do your week thing.
I don't really want to.
All right, so last week, Jonathan over here, he doesn't want to talk about it, was 9-5, slowly falling way behind his brother, big brother.
Only 4.
I was 11-3, tied with Jacob, so he didn't gain on me. So Jonathan's overall record is 105-61, still respectable, and I am sitting at 115-51.
We have a lot of bye weeks this week.
Yes, we got a ton of teams on bye this week.
Jets, Jaguars, Saints, Falcons, Bills, and Bengals are all on bye this week. So not as many fireworks. And I have a feeling we're all going to have the same 1 p.m. picks as well. So we'll see if I'm right about this.
Yeah, let's see where we go.
Next up we have, and I'm interested to see if we have any like upsets, because there's always going to be that one upset that ruins someone's 1 p.m. parlay. I guarantee there will be. I'm not going to pick one though. We have the Cowboys, who are 3-7, going up against the Commanders, who are 7-4. Washington, they are 10-point favorites to win this game. Cooper Rush played pretty decent the first half of that game last week, and then the second half happened. That was rough. Yeah, Washington's going to most likely win this one by quite a bit. I don't see why they wouldn't. The Cowboys' defense is really not good, and the offense is also really not that good. So Washington should handle business at home.
Agreed. I don't know how this Cowboys defense went from one of the best in the league to one of the worst in the league, but it did.
Quick.
And then the offense is just terrible anyways, so Washington by like 30.
Cowboys, I don't know. They're not very good on either side of the ball. I don't know what we're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. But Jerry Jones, I know you're listening, so pay attention. Stay out of the business. Let your people that you've hired run the team, mind your business, and do not hire Bill Belichick if you fire Mike McCarthy, because he has a losing record without Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's not playing. So we don't need another loser in there coaching our team. With that being said, I'm picking the Commanders.
And next up we have Tampa, 4-6, going up on the road against the Giants, who are 2-8 and are now starting with a different quarterback, which will probably not really make a difference. Tampa should be getting Mike Evans back this week potentially, but either way, I would still pick them to win this game. The Giants are a dumpster fire, and
Yeah.
That they are.
and Tampa's really a good team, but an injured team, so they can still win this game.
Giants are a dumpster fire. Tampa's gonna win.
You're just gonna plagiarize everything I
I'm
say?
going to plagiarize.
Okay.
He's plagiarizing tonight. I am also going to go with Tampa Bay. The Giants are in full-blown tank mode. That's why they went with their third-string quarterback instead of their second-string quarterback. It's really, I don't understand why people can't figure it out. They don't want to win. They need to get a quarterback. Daniel Jones is all done. He's finished. He's not going to take another step for the Giants. So they need a quarterback in this draft. So they need to lose all the rest of their games to make sure they're in the top spot. So Tampa Bay is going to win this game, and probably pretty easily.
Next up, we have the 9-1 Chiefs, no longer undefeated, going on the road against the big bad Panthers. Yeah, this is a team that you want to play coming off of a loss, because this is going to be a take out that loss on a bad team type of game. Chiefs are going to do their thing, and the Panthers are going to sit back and watch. Yep. So Chiefs take this one on the road.
I want to pick the Panthers for fun, but I can't get that far behind. So Chiefs. I'd like to see the Panthers win though, but I'm not picking the Panthers against the Chiefs. In fact, I'm not even gonna pick the Panthers probably against anyone for the rest of the year. So Chiefs.
I'm also going to pick the Chiefs. The Chiefs want to play the Panthers coming off a bye, but the Panthers coming off the Chiefs losing do not want to play the Chiefs, because this is going to be a little revenge game. They're going to be motivated, and the Panthers are going to take the brunt of it. And the Kansas City's 10.5-point favorites, and I think that's a little low, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll get so far ahead they'll rest their starters in the second half. But the Chiefs go on the road and give a beat down to the Panthers.
All right, next up we have the 3-8 Patriots. Next year it'll probably be 8-3 around this time. They're going on the road in Miami against the 4-6 Dolphins. The Dolphins they're getting their mojo back. They put a few wins together now. The Patriots, I told you I wasn't going to pick them against the Rams, because I just had a feeling they weren't going to be able to do enough to win, and that's exactly what happened. Drake May still had some really great throws in that game, showing that he is the best rookie quarterback this year. And unfortunately, the O-line couldn't hold up, because he got 7 points in that game came from a strip sack because the O-line couldn't hold up, and that was 7 quick points for the Rams. So you take away a few of those turnovers that weren't his fault, and it could be a different game. But he's still playing with the same people, and honestly, even when Brady was quarterback, Miami was the one place that we would never win. We would always kill the Dolphins by like 40 points when they played in New England, but we would lose every year in Miami.
Dolphins are back a little bit, enough to beat the Patriots, because they still stink, and Drake May is not the best rookie quarterback.
Say it into the mic.
Drake May is not the best rookie quarterback.
All right. I am also going to pick the Dolphins. The Patriots disappointed me a couple weeks in a row. I picked them because I thought they were coming around a little bit, but no, they're not. So Drake May is the bright spot of that whole organization, and unfortunately they're still suffering from a lot of the decisions that Belichick made before he left. But the Dolphins, a little better each week. They're coming around, and I think this should be an easy one for them. So Dolphins win at home.
All right, that brings us to the Titans at the Texans, and I'm not going to spend much time on this game. The Texans are at home, and they're most likely going to win unless some crazy upset happens. They're just a better team.
Texans are going to win.
Yes, they are. I am going to pick the Texans also to win. Big shocker. I mean, you've got a lot of good teams playing a lot of bad teams this week. And you're right, though, Jacob. There is going to be an upset somewhere. And if you can figure it out and play it on a parlay, you can make some. You can make some dollars. Well, that person's not me, because I'll take any team and guarantee a win, and they'll lose. So I'm not guaranteeing anything this week. I'm not picking any upset, but I'm going to pick the Texans to win this.
We have the Lions at the Colts.
Oh boy.
I'll give the Colts credit. Anthony Richardson came back. He had a pretty solid game, probably one of his best games of the season, really. He played well, and he fought to the very end. Unlike the Jets, the Lions should still easily win this game. They are right now, I would have to assume, the Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
I wonder who picked them at the beginning of this year.
The Lions, between their coaching and the way that they've pieced this team together perfectly, it's just all meshing and gelling in a championship fashion. So I would have a very hard time picking against them really the rest of the season. We'll see. But this should be another game that they can win pretty easily.
I don't really know how much I can say about this. The Lions are probably the best team in the NFL. No, they're easily the best team in the NFL. I mean, they put up like 50 points consistently, and their defense is good too. I don't think the Colts are good enough to put up a fight.
I'm also picking the Lions. They're 9-1. They haven't lost since week 2. Well coached, and they're probably going to win the Super Bowl if they don't have any more big injuries.
Next, we have another divisional matchup. We have the Vikings at the Bears. I don't like this game. It's a divisional game in the NFC North, and I just don't like those games. It's kind of like with the AFC North. Those teams play each other very hard. They hate each other. It's usually closer than it should be, regardless of the year and how good each team is. The Vikings, they are winning, which is really important. They're just winning a lot sloppier than they should. They were a little better last time around, but sometimes they just do some dumb stuff. And the Bears are not a good team, but every once in a while their defense will have a game where they win them the game. So I'm still going to take the Vikings to win. They are the overall better team, better offense, but I just don't like this type of game because I feel like it's a trap almost.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Vikings. I do think this game is going to be a lot closer than it should be. It's just, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be very close. But the Bears are on a kind of a downward slope. They've lost like 4 straight games. So I'm going to take the Vikings in a close one.
This could be a similar game to last week. Kind of how like when the Bears played the Packers. It could be similar to that. Packers should have won by a lot more, but it just might be one of those NFC North type divisional games.
Yes, I am going to also take the Vikings, and they should win this game. I think fairly easy if Sam Darnold doesn't Sam Darnold. If he's played like he has most of the year, I think they're going to be just fine. If he plays like Sam Darnold, it's going to be a close one, and the Bears could probably eke out a victory here, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to take the Vikings to go on the road and into Chicago and beat the Bears.
The Broncos at the Raiders. I messed up last week not picking the Broncos over the Falcons.
Yeah.
That is the game that ruined my parlay last week. I had every 1 p.m. game right. I had the Thursday night game right. Yeah, and the Falcons lost it for me again. Falcons are in serious trouble. They dropped one in their division against a bad team, and then they just got... It wasn't close. If it was a close game, I would say, okay, maybe not so bad. They got manhandled. They scored 6 points against the Broncos, and the Broncos scored, what, 30?
38.
38 against them. Bo Nix looked like the reincarnation of Peyton Manning. So I don't know why I'm talking about the Falcons too much, but
Because they lost you money again.
yeah,
Twice.
Broncos look good. Bo Nix looks like
Best
the
rookie.
second best rookie quarterback this year,
First.
and I think he leads his team easily to victory over a divisional opponent that is trying very hard to get the number 1 pick against the Giants. So yeah, Broncos win.
I know what I usually do, but I cannot get myself to do it. I'm going to go with the Broncos. And if they lose, it's my fault.
You jinxed them.
Yeah,
if they
it
lose,
is your
it's my fault.
Right. Well, I don't think there's much of a chance of that. I'm also taking the Broncos on the road. The Raiders are 2-8. They really, really need a quarterback, and they lost out on it last time because they all went off the board quicker than they expected. And so they're probably not going to win another game the rest of the year on purpose because they have to get a quarterback this year. And Broncos are looking pretty good. Their defense is tough. Bo Nix, I'm going to tell you, I was reading some stats today. His stats and Jaden Daniels are almost identical. You don't hear about Bo Nix because he doesn't get a lot of hype, and the Broncos don't get a lot of hype for really where they're at. Everybody was saying at the beginning of the year the Broncos are going to be the worst team in football. Their roster is horrible. And, I mean, they're not bad. they're not a bad team. The defense is playing well. And Bo Nix, if he had a little more hype and a little more marketing, he could be the offensive rookie of the year. And we'll see. Jaden Daniels has kind of tailed off, which is a little bit. We'll see how he plays the next couple of weeks against weaker teams.
I do want to give a shout out to Raiders tight end Brock Bowers, though.
Yeah.
He looks like a mini Gronkowski. He's good. He's having some good weeks.
Yeah, he's their bright spot.
He's like the Drake May of the Raiders right now.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, next up. All right, this is where we potentially split paths. We'll see what happens. This is going to be a conditional pick for me right here. I haven't done one of these in a while. So the 49ers do not look like their typical selves. They don't look that good this year. Packers are having a pretty decent year, but the last few wins have been kind of ugly. They're playing in Green Bay too. Packers are 2-point favorites on this. Sometimes in football, history just seems to repeat itself, and there are certain teams that
is true.
certain teams just end up being other teams' kryptonite, regardless of records. And the 49ers seem to be that for the Packers, kind of how the 49ers also are for the Cowboys. And if Brock Purdy plays, then I'm going to pick the 49ers. I'm going to go out on a limb and pick the 49ers. If Brock Purdy does not play, I'm picking the Packers because I don't think there's a way the 49ers win this game with their backup quarterback. So that's my pick.
I mean, is Brock Purdy questionable?
He's day-to-day, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a little dinged up.
He's day-to-day right now.
That's good information to know.
Yeah, you should have known that.
My conditional pick will be if the 49ers win, I'll go with them. If the Packers win, I'll go with them. Well, that's how he's like, basically. But, no, I'm just going to stick with the 49ers. They just seem to always beat the Packers no matter what.
You are copying me.
No, I'm not. They always beat the Packers.
Well, I definitely don't care who's under center for 49ers either. I'm going with the Packers.
Smart.
History does repeat itself a lot, but also there's a time that you got to stop history and start making a new history. And I think with the 49ers being down this year with their injuries and not playing well, I think this might be their chance for the Packers to do that. And so they're at home. It's not really the frozen tundra yet in Green Bay, but I still think the Packers are going to win this game. And so they're only 2-point favorites. I am going to take the Packers to win at home.
This could be a revenge game. You might be right. This might be, because this is a rematch of the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah.
And that was a close game. The Packers were close to winning.
I'm going to be honest, I can't do it. I'm going with the Packers. I switched. I can't do it.
Midstream, what happened?
I can't do it. I cannot pick the 49ers with how injured they are.
Okay.
All right. So we got a
flip-flopper.
flip-flopper.
All right.
Here.
Next up, we have the 6-4 Cardinals sitting first place in the NFC West. I did not have that one on my bingo card.
Nope, me either.
And they're playing against, well, they're almost basically playing for first place, but the division's so close. They're playing the Seahawks, who are 5-5. They're playing in Seattle. The last few times I feel like the Seahawks have played in Seattle, they've lost. I don't really trust either team because you can see based on their records, both teams have kind of been hot and cold throughout the season. Cardinals are 1-point favorites, and I am going to pick them. They have one more win this year. I just think they've been more consistently hot, and they've been hot more recently. Seahawks did have that last-minute win against the 49ers. They didn't really look all that great, though. It was just both teams looked pretty bad last week. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think they can take this one, and I'm not really sure if they'll win, but I'll give them the slight edge.
Just be a man and pick a team.
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
They look slightly better.
Well, I think they are slightly better.
It's a toss-up.
I am also picking the Cardinals to go on the road and win. I would not be shocked at all if the Seahawks win this game. Neither team is really a dependable pick. You know, they're not consistent. You got 6-4 versus 5-5. You know, that's how much more mediocre can you get. So I'm not really sure why I'm picking the Cardinals, other than the Seahawks really have not been impressive at all after they had a pretty decent start, and they've gone right down the tubes really since then. So keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going with the Cardinals.
Now we have Sunday Night Football. We have some decent games in prime time this week. We have the Eagles, who are 8-2, first place in the NFC East, and on a 6-game winning streak, I think now.
Yes.
Going up against the Rams, who are 5-5. They've won a couple of games in a row now too. Eagles are 3-point favorites. This is a game I kind of debated, but honestly, after watching the way the Rams played the Patriots last week, I'm going to pick the Eagles to win. Stafford looked really good. He made some great throws. Cooper Kupp had 2 touchdowns. Nakua had a nice touchdown. But they were given such good field position, and I don't think they're going to get quite as many chances against the Eagles. They only beat us by like 6 points last week. They should have beat us by a lot more. And if they play that same way against the Eagles, then I think they lose. Just the way Saquon Barkley's been playing, the Eagles defense has really gotten it together. Sirianni's got to be thanking his lucky stars that this team is playing like this. They are saving his job for now, at least. We'll see. But I do think the Eagles are a tougher team than the Rams, and I think they're going to do enough to win this game. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost, because that would be an Eagles type of game to lose. But they're just too hot to pick against for me right now, and I don't think the Rams are the team that's going to snap their streak.
I have been thinking the Eagles were frauds for the past few weeks, but they've kind of reversed that. I think they're a little bit more legit now, and the Rams are still very inconsistent. Some weeks they'll look like a really good team, and some weeks they'll just be back to bad. So I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I also am going to take the Eagles. They got things figured out on their bye week. I hate to say this because I hate the Eagles being in the division with the Cowboys, but they're actually playing very well. Barkley has saved that franchise and Sirianni's job. And a lot of it is thank you to the Giants for not re-signing him, because you made him upset, and he's out to prove everybody wrong, and he's now taking it out on the rest of the NFC East. And so we can thank the Giants for really messing that up. I'm picking the Eagles, as hard as it is for me to do.
Monday Night Football, and I am still struggling with this pick as I speak.
You should keep it.
So we have the Ravens, who are coming off of a very close loss against the Steelers, which I predicted, and they're going against the Chargers. Chargers are at home, although they don't have a very good home field advantage. Like, they don't really, their fans don't really show up that well. They're playing 7-3. They are coming off of a close win, which I also predicted, and the Ravens are 3-point favorites here.
Yeah.
So here's my thinking right now. I started thinking about this game, and I was kind of thinking that this would be a very similar game to the Steelers and Ravens, because the Chargers have a pretty good defense, not quite as good as the Steelers, but they play a similar type of football. And the Chargers offense can have some really good quarters, and then they might have a quarter or almost a whole half where they don't score at all. So I thought this would be a very similar game, and it might be. But just to throw off my brother, I circled the Chargers, but I'm actually picking the Ravens to win this game.
What?
I think I could see the Chargers winning this game for sure, but I think the Ravens are going to take this one just by a hair, just because of their weapons. They have a much better run game than the Chargers do, and their offense is fantastic. Their defense is not great. It's not much better than the Bengals, but it is just a hair better than the Bengals, and the Bengals were just a hair from winning last week against the Chargers. So that's my line of thinking. I'm going with the Ravens.
You know, I was really excited that you were going to pick the Chargers, because I thought I was going to get a pretty easy win on you there. So I'm going with the Ravens. I was going to go with the Ravens.
Well, I don't see how you think you're going to get an easy win, because
I hate the Chargers.
you might hate the Chargers, but it's not going to be an easy win.
No, but I thought...
I don't even think the Ravens are going to win this
Yeah,
game.
I know.
I am taking the Chargers to beat the Ravens. The Ravens are 7-4. They give up a lot of big plays. I think if it comes down to coaching, put the Chargers over the edge, but I really think they're going to win. They're 7-3. Ravens are 7-4. I mean, it's pretty close anyways. Chargers, it is.
Last time the Harbaugh brothers played each other, though, John Harbaugh took the win. So
Yeah.
that was a different time, though.
That was a different era.
Ravens and 49ers back then.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. Anything could happen with this. Before I end this video, huge shout out to our king and MVP, Jason Tatum, for helping carry the Celtics to another win, taking out the previously undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. which I guaranteed we're going to lose that game against the Celtics. So
Yes.
that was nice to see that happen. And I'm sure we're going to see the Celtics continue to dominate this year and win their second championship.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter really what happens in regular season. The Celtics don't have to prove anything to anybody by going out and trying to get the best record ever. That team is better than anybody in the NBA. We don't even have Porzingis yet. And when he comes back, I mean, this team's loaded. And Jason Tatum is going to tear the league up. They might as well give him the MVP right now.
Not going to, though.
And you can thank Steve Kerr,
No.
and we all do because,
Who's 1-0 this season against him?
yeah, big deal. We had 2 starters out, and you barely beat us. All right, it's not
Wasn't
a.
the
It's not
40-point blowout you were calling.
We can rewind to last year when we blew you guys out on your home stadium
No,
by
that was your home court.
40,
That was
50,
your-
60
that was your home
points.
court.
So, which is probably why Steve Kerr didn't want Tatum to play in the Olympics. But we know what a fraud he is, anyways. He rode Michael Jordan's coattails, and then he rode all his good players that he had as a coattail. So.
We're number 1 in the West.
You're not in the East, are you?
I said the West.
well, Exactly. You're not number one in the East.
Number 1 in the West.
How are we frauds?
You're not.
No,
your
I didn't say you're
coaches.
fraud, your coaches.
Seems to be doing pretty decent so far.
No,
Oh, that's
Curry.
because
Curry.
he's got. Steph Curry bailed him out in the Olympics.
That's true.
They would not have won the gold medal if it wasn't for Steph Curry.
Steph Curry on the Warriors is like Tom Brady on the Patriots.
Yes.
He just makes everyone else look good.
Right.
That's it.
I believe it.
He's just too great. So everyone you win. That's what happens.
Right. You could take Steve Kerr off there and put you in as coach, and they're still going to win. Nothing's going to change. Steve Kerr's a fraud. And we saw it in the Olympics.
Potentially.
So that's all I got to say.
Smart. He'll just retire when Curry does,
Yes.
so he doesn't ruin his reputation.
Right, because he'll end up being another Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
You lose your superstar, and then you're exposed to what kind of a coach you are.
Yep.
And, yeah, it is what it is. And the Celtics are going to be the champs again. Put that in the books. We'll guarantee that.
We'll see you next time.